Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release. And at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've worked. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release, and at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've worked. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release, and at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. but it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile, governing council, succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release, and at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile, governing council, succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible? Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release. And at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's observe a minute silence to the fallen heroes of Biafra, and the time starts now. We mourn our heroes past, we celebrate them, and our heroes living as we continue to fight on to see that Biafra is fully restored. Ise, 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 Ise. Welcome everyone, and today is another good day. Today is the 13th of February in the year of Chukwu Okike Abiama, 2026. We salute our leaders that have lived before us, and our leaders in prison. We salute the BDF. We salute our PM Kere in office. And we salute the entire cabinet of BRGIE and the de facto government in the homeland. We salute all Biafrans for what they are doing to make sure we continue our cause for freedom. Every sacrifice and energy is appreciated, and we want to see everyone doing what they are doing because there is division of labor to put more effort in making sure they give us the needed result. Tomorrow is our fundraising, and on Sunday is our town hall meeting. I implore all Biafrans to key in. Come and support your freedom because it is what we need to keep us on a very high level. I salute you all. The video on the screen I've played for the past 19 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And this is Joseph E. Schmidt, which EMA Accountability Group, they brought and said is the lawyer they hired from America to go to Finland to defend our PM, Simon Ekpa. We are not against what they are doing as far as it's geared towards releasing our PM, Simon Ekpa. That is why we said division of labor. If you say you have all the power to alone and you don't want a BRGIE under Prime Minister Ankere, you don't want Attorney Dabiri, who is the constituted attorney of BRGIE. You don't want Mazi Elias, who is the constituted lobbyist of BRGIE, who has done wonders in Washington, D.C., and is putting Nigeria on their toes. If you don't want PM Kere, Elias, and Dabiri to interfere in PM Simon Ekpa's case, and you say you know how best to do it, please do it well so that we can see the result. But listening to this video here, from the first appearance that they brought this man for public introduction and for public display, and to cajole the minds of Biafrans into believing that they have something to offer, I think there is disaster and damage control that was done here. Yes, because the question was posed, what is the prospect that Biafrans need to expect from this new lawyer and what they will do to see that our leaders are released? But the answer was too bad. The answer number one is that it's a difficult question and that our PM have lost confidence and hope and trust in Finland judicial system. And so having known that, the lawyer went on to explain that he is not promising that he can do anything and that he's not going to be the one to do anything. He's only going to learn. He's not saying he's already imbibed and okay with the case. He said he's going to learn. He's about to start learning. So he does not know what he's going to do yet and what he's going to offer. So he's going to start learning. And then he said he's not a Finland lawyer and he cannot pretend, he will not pretend to tell you that he is a Finland lawyer. He will only rely on Finland lawyers for anything that needs to be done. But he told you that PM Simon Ekpa was not properly represented. And it's still the same person telling you that He's not a Finland lawyer, but he's contradicting what he said. And that since he's not a Finland lawyer, he's not going to have a direct impact. He's only going to rely on the same Finland lawyers. But yet, he's not going to be the one to do it. It's going to be a group effort. And then he urged all of you to go and do prayers and fasting. So if it was prayers and fasting that BDF have been doing for years, what results will we have yielded all this far? If it was prayers and fasting that BRGIE have done since PM Simon Egba was in prison and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was in prison, is it prayer and fasting that we did for us to have the results in Washington, D.C.? Is it prayer and fasting which the attorney or the lawyer here that the man hired and presented to some of you? Is it prayer and fasting that BRGIE did, that they held a congressional testimony against Nigeria? Is it prayer and fasting that was needed for us to do to have a congressional briefing in the Washington White House? So I think this one is another disappointment. You see, the same way when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped and hauled to Nigeria, and then autopilot under PM Simon Egba, then it was not a government, it was just autopilot till we entered into a government. When we came together to form autopilot, we told IPOB and every Biafran that it is not you hiring international lawyer from America and bring to Nigeria that will release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, what will really release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is our engagement with the lobbies, the attorney, and the lawmakers in America, and then what we will do in the homeland. This is what will pressure the Nigerian government to bring our leaders to us. And then they did not listen to us. They decided to go and carry Bruce Fenn. How many of you remember Bruce Fenn? The same way that they ignored what we told them, they went and spent series of money on Bruce Fenn. I'm airing these views now so that many of you that are not aware of what you're going into and what you'll be going into spend your money, so that you will understand. The same way that these people have rejected our advices. First of all, there is Attorney Dabiri of BRGIE, which is working for BRGIE. There is Mazi Elias, the lobbyist, who is working for BRGIE. All of you have seen the work of Attorney Dabiri and Mazi Elias, the lobbyist of BRGIE. Nigerian government are crying about him. The UK government are crying about him. The European Union are crying about him. Yes. That you all see sanctions on Nigeria today, invoked and high tariffs. That is why I put this thing on the screen. This thing you see on the screen on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side, depending on your screen, where you see the signature of Mr. Okechukwu Nkere, Biafran American political and human rights activist. This is the letter, the congressional testimony that BRGI is submitted to the US Congress. And you can see all the points listed there. These are the demands that were listed to the US Congress to implement against Nigeria and the European Commission in favor of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Simon Egba and for Biafra recognition and restoration. And BRGIE has not stopped doing what they are doing in favor of Martin Nnamdi Kanu and Martin Simon Ekpa till the next 100 years. Are you getting the point? Series of meetings are still ongoing with the BRGIE PM and the BRGIE lobbies and the attorney and the US lawmakers. They continue to engage and to educate the US lawmakers on everything that is happening. And today, many of you slept and woke up. You saw that Nigerian government has been sanctioned and that the US Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act has been invoked against Nigeria. And they are holding their leaders accountable. They are holding some terrorist groups accountable and every organization that is involved in kidnappings, massacre, genocide of Christians in Nigeria. These are all the recommendations that BRGI submitted to the US Congress in the month of June of 2025. So when you sit down and see disaster happening to Nigeria, you should understand and find out where is it coming from? Where did it start? Today, all of you are hearing and seeing Congressman Raleigh Moore being the one spearheading the campaign. But do you know who started it and then left it there? You see, there is a way American government system works. Senator Ted Cruz started the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act and then left it there. And today, you see the US Congress have catapulted that Accountability Act into action. Senator Ted Cruz started it in October of 2025, while BRGIE submitted it in June of 2025. Senator Ted Cruz started the campaign in October 2025. Today, in February 2026, you see it in motion, working. So, with all this, look at the demands on the screen. You see, BRGIE recommends the following: that the US invoke the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act against Nigeria to identify and impose travel and financial restrictions on all officials of the federal government of Nigeria and any Nigerian non-state actors implicated in the killing of Biafran Christians in their homeland in southeast Nigeria and entire Nigeria. Urge the U.S. government, including through targeted sanctions on tariffs, or pressure the government of Nigeria to release Martin Nnamdi Kanu and allow him safe passage out of Nigeria. Urge the U.S. government to pressure the government of Finland, including through targeted sanctions and tariffs, to end its politically motivated trial against pro-activist Simon Ekpa. Urge the United States to deny all bilateral assistance and visas to officials of the government of Nigeria if continues to engage in transnational repression against pro-Biafra activists, and if Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu continue to be held in detention. Then, this is signed by who? Okechukwu Nkere, Biafran American political and human rights activist. So, with all this on the table, and then Nigerian government are implementing all these things one after another in a gradual process, And then some of you that do not understand how politics works. You want to sleep and wake up and see that you submitted a petition to the US government today, and then today they implement it. This was submitted in June 2025. And the US Congress started pushing it in October 2025 by Senator Ted Cruz. And then in February 2026, you are seeing it in motion in the hands of Congressman Raleigh Moore. Do you know what is the next step? You don't know. But is Nigeria being pressured? Is Nigeria facing sanctions now for kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and imprisonment of Mai Simon Ekpa? Yes, they are facing it in Nigeria. And they are sending back the message to the European Commission, who helped them to make it happen, and the UK government, who helped them to make it happen. So if you're a Biafran and then you don't love this result and you're not keen in, you prefer to say that nothing is happening, it means you are just working for the enemies of Biafra and you don't even love progress. And you don't even want to see more to come. But in your lifetime, this is the only time that the Biafran people have had this ample opportunity of going into the White House, the US Congress House, and submitting documents that are very, very intricate in line with the Biafran cause. And you see the results coming out with every evidence. The results are everywhere. Everything that is happening to the Nigerian government today, it is part and parcel of this congressional testimony that was submitted to the US Congress. So, having known all this lawyer here has just confessed to all of you that he is not a Finland lawyer and he cannot pretend to be one. That he will only have to rely on the same Finland lawyers. Far back in 2024 and 2025, Attorney Dabiri and lobbies, Mazi Elias, they made serious effort to communicate with the attorney of PM in Finland, the lawyers of PM. EMA, Accountability Group, and Choma and Bryson, all of them blocked Attorney Dabiri. And the lobbies, Elias, from communicating with the lawyer and getting to understand the facts and figures on the case file so that they will now know what to use and whatever they need to do in order and where to write and petition to. A man knocked them out. A man snubbed them. Chioma and Bryson, they refused them access. They refuse. The only thing they do is that when they go there, they will tell PM Simon Ekpa that we are doing nothing, that Attorney Dabiri is not doing anything, that Mazi Elias, the lobbyist, is not doing anything. They don't care about him. They will say that we are only making donations and giving to them to do something in Washington, but they don't care about him. So they do all kinds of condemnation against Attorney Dabiri and against Mazi Elias, the lobbyist. But the same Mazi Elias and the lobbies that you people refuse access to the lawyer and the attorneys of PM in Finland to be able to coordinate and know what is going on, what they can do, they still went ahead to do something in Washington, D.C. in favor of Mazi Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Biafran cause. They did not get themselves restricted. They did not get themselves restricted to what you people have done, since you people blocked them and you did not allow them to get in line or to even know the intricate point in the case file of PM Simon Ekpa so that they can be able to use it to counter some narrative. You people block him. You block Elias, you block Attorney Dabiri. You did not allow him to get to the lawyer. In Finland, they made all efforts. You did not. You did not allow them. Even at that, as we did not allow them, they still did their work in Washington, D.C. This is one of the works that they did in Washington, D.C. in favor of Mazi Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And the case is in the U.S. Congress. That is why on the 20th of November, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was imprisoned pronounced to jail, in prison, and life to death in prison, the U.S. lawmakers that have been educated by Attorney Dabiri and our lobbies, Elias, and our PM Kere, they were able to follow up the case and to understand what was happening. And then they even made a public pronouncement inside a U.S. congressional briefing or hearing that was ongoing on that very day. Now, if they did not do anything to brief the U.S. lawmakers, how would the U.S. lawmakers have known what was happening and what to do and what to say in the U.S. congressional hearing that day? That is the power of lobbying. They did their work, even as Emma and Chioma and Bryson, Ruby Nadi, Joy Ruby, all of you that went to prison to see our PM Simon Ekpa, you block the lobbies. Attorney Dabiri also, they still did their work in Washington, D.C. And what Nigeria is suffering today, they are suffering from the work that Attorney Dabiri and Mazi Elias and BM Kere did in Washington, D.C. More sanctions are coming. More high tariffs are coming. More accountability names are coming. Yes, Meeti Allah has been spotted out, and it is one of the names. For many of you that don't know Meeti Allah, know ye that Meeti Allah as the ground and cultural terrorist group that comes to flag in your communities in the name of herdsmen, cattle breeders association, while the main terrorist group are the Fulani ones. So they cover them with their umbrella of Meeti Allah Breeders Association. Kwang Kwaso, for some of you that do not know, how many of you remember that the US government called on Nigeria to disband Sharia and Jihad in their constitution? It is from this Jihad and Sharia that these terrorists of Meeti Allah are given power to carry AK-47 and then kill Christians and kill you in your communities. It is from this Sharia and Jihad that the Fulani terrorists have power to kill all of you without anybody holding them accountable, because they have put the Sharia inside the Nigerian constitution, and it has power and give them legitimacy. When you hear of Kwang Kwaso is the person that signed and endorsed the Sharia law and Jihad into order. These are some things that some of you don't know. You need to start understanding it now. Now you will ask yourself, how many states in Nigeria are practicing Sharia? And when you look at some of these states, they are all the states where you are seeing the genocide happening in high scale. So they use the Sharia law to their own advantage to plague and destroy the lives of Christians. Before I go into that in-depthly, because I'm going to bring something to the screen, I want to play this video once again. Listen very well for your take home.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible. Thank you.
Did you all get the question? The question is, what should Biafrans expect to come out from hiring you, from bringing you down under the auspices of a Ma Accountability Group? What can you offer? What will Biafra get after spending their money and their time hiring you? What are you going to give to Biafra? What assurance do you have to tell us that you will succeed? Listen to the answer.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much.
Number one, that is a difficult question. Anything that is difficult only in question will also be difficult in action. So he's already yielding, telling you that this one is difficult. I cannot answer you now. I don't know what, because it passed me. I'm just learning this thing. I never perfect. If you listen to the entire video here in this program, you will hear this Mr. Joseph echoing severally that he has just come in, is going to learn, everything, is going to learn. So why will you go and bring somebody that wants to come and learn? Is it the case of Mazi Simon Ekpa that they want to use to learn work? Is it the case of Biafra that they need to use to learn work? Now, Dr. Honorable Nenna from Canada asks another question. He asks about the man's profile, or whether is it autobiography or biography, or what you people call it, or to say what is your profile, what case have you handled before, what is your record, to tell that you have handled high profile cases like this before, and you have had success, and you have had records that will be able to tell that our own case is a very minor thing in your hand. There is no record to tell that he has handled any kind of this case before. So Honorable Nena was kind of disappointed, and she was even asking another question. Why is it that we all know that it is the European Commission that is actually the problem, and we are not going after European Commission, and then we are going after Finland? Because from the beginning speech, you said that our PM has lost hope and confidence and trust in the judicial system of Finland. So why are you now still continuing when you said he has lost hope in the judicial system of Finland in the first place? And then you still went on to say you are not a Finland lawyer, you cannot pretend to be one, and you will only rely on Finland lawyers or whatever they say and whatever they give you. But at first, you criticize that our PM was not properly represented by the Finland lawyers. And at the end of the day, you're still saying that you are going to still rely on the same Finland lawyers. That means nothing will come out then. But me, I want something that will give results. Because the one that Attorney Dabiri and Mazi Elias and PM Nkere are already doing in U.S. Congress, the results are coming out. You can see what the U.S. Congress are doing. They are putting sanctions on the European Union. They are putting sanctions on Nigeria. They are putting sanctions on UK. And all these sanctions are going around the table, and they are affecting the European Union and affecting UK and affecting Nigeria and affecting Finland as well. So the ones that have already seen results and the results are speaking, isn't it better me? I continue to stick to that one and give all my support. Because as we speak now, as Nigeria is in chaos, BRGIE congressional testimony and briefing on June 2025 and on 18th of September 2025 is what has sparked the fire in Nigeria. You see, This testimony was done in a very calm and quiet way. The congressional briefing was done in a very calm and quiet way. No too much noise. And after then, we went home and relaxed. We now went home to relax from June, July, August, September, October, November. From December, everything started sparking up. From November, everything started sparking up. Nigeria has been in chaos. You don't need to use one stone to kill only one bird. Use one stone to kill many birds. That is what BRGIE have done. They have put Nigeria in a state of panic. With all the work of Attorney Dabiri and Elias and PM Kere in Washington, D.C., engaging the U.S. lawmakers. If I go to the website now and open and show you series of engagement upon engagement upon engagement with the U.S. lawmakers, it's like BRGIE, PM, and our lobbies and attorney have almost engaged all the U.S. lawmakers in America. And most especially the active lawmakers in the U.S. Congress today. And more of the U.S. foreign policy makers and the ambassadors, both present and past and future ambassadors of America. And they have been so educated about Nigeria and the cause of Biafra, and then they are using strategic ways of implementing measures and ways and manners of crippling Nigeria and bringing them to their toes. As a Biafran, what are you supposed to do? Yes, Mazi BRGIE run things and they run show and they happen, they go. So if you have not seen this thing on the screen, please screenshot this thing here and post it where you see the signature of Okechukwu Nkere, the human rights activist of America. Please screenshot it and post it everywhere, because this is the recommendations of BRGIE that were submitted in June of 2025. And you can see, reading from here, everything that is happening on this very list is what is facing Nigeria now. Nigeria is in panic, they are in turmoil, they are going through the pains and penury that BRGIE inflicted on them. I don't know whether many of you remember when the US, the Arise TV News were saying, how effective is the BRGIE? How effective is the Biafra lobbying group? And then that man that was answering said, they are very effective and super effective. Yes. They said, if you see what they are doing, people like Senator Ted Cruz are actively doing something for them. He's one of their allies. And they are moving mountains and causing so much panic for Nigeria. Have you all forgotten that Nigeria have gone to lobby the US Congress and they have paid over $9 million to lobby the US Congress? What is the result? What is the result? The result is speaking volume. The result is speaking volume from what BRGIE have done. And you can continue to see and see and see and see and see. I'm looking for that short video to play where they are saying, have you seen what the BRGIE lobbyists are doing? Or how effective are these BRGIE lobbyists in Washington, D.C.? Then when you listen, you hear the cry of one Nigeria. The cry is too much. I'm looking for that video to play to remind everybody something. So if you hate what BRGI are doing, it means You were not bound. You were not bound to be successful in your life. Hey, that video waka where. Hold on, no. I don't know whether that thing don't come out am because the thing hammer Nigeria where. I dey find am for TikTok, make I see whether I go see am now. Whether I go see am now, I dey find am now. Make I see. Oh, okay. Here it is. Here it is. I'm bringing the video. Listen to this.
And even future military and oil deals. I mean, how seriously are these groups being taken in US policy circles?
Well, serious enough that you've got people like Ted Cruz, who is the conservative senator who chairs the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's a big supporter of the Biafra government in exile. He's a big supporter, actually, of the Somaliland region in East Africa. And Mike Pompeo, who was the former Secretary of State, and that was under Trump's first term. And
even future military and oil deals. I mean, how seriously are these groups being taken in US policy circles?
Well, serious enough that you've got people like Ted Cruz, who is the conservative senator who chairs the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He's a big supporter of the Biafra government in exile. He's a big supporter, actually, of the Somaliland region in East Africa. And Mike Pompeo, who was the former Secretary of State, and that was under Trump's first term.
Now, do you get the message now? You see, those of you that did not take Simon Ekpa for anything when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was imprisoned, you all ignored him. When he called all of you to come together that we have a template and we have to move forward, all of you said you want to sit down and wait for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that you know. It's only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that has the template for Biafra. It's only him that has the solution and knows how to do it best. He's the only person that should fight for Biafra. You don't want any other person, and you counsel every other person. I have seen more of you now that Mazi Simon Ekpa is in prison. You have also come up with such utterances and narrative. And it is not new to us because there must be a resurrection of things that we have seen before. It is part of the freedom movement. After Mazi Simon Ekpa was imprisoned, all of you and some of you, you know yourselves, like Orabo Fulani and our groups, and Adandi Uchu, and Pharmacist Diana. They came together when they were mocking the Biafran government in exile on their phone calls. They said Nkere cannot offer anything, cannot achieve anything, cannot do anything for Biafra. That without them, Nkere cannot do anything, cannot go to anywhere. Today, Nkere is the one that brought Biafran people to the US White House. Nkere is the one that submitted US congressional testimony in favor of Biafra and in favor of PM Simon Ekpa and Supreme Leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nkere is the one that made sure Biafrans had the lifetime opportunity to give a congressional briefing and testimony in the White House on the September 2025. What I showed to you people on the screen is the document that was submitted to the US Congress under the watch of the same Nkere in June 2025. So it is not exceptional, or it is not new when some of you are now standing up and say you don't believe or you cannot support a BRGIE under Nkere. Now, It is the same thing that Ngozi said in 2024 to this day. And Ngozi has not been able to offer you anything. The only thing she comes to do online is to come and lie for you, lie to you. Today, she will go and fill one form online and bring it and tell people that she wrote letter to, or President Trump wrote letter to her. All of you will be fooled. The same way she did during the official inauguration of President Trump in January 2025. It's the same thing that she's repeating now, deceiving many of you. When she sees that she has lost relevance in the media, she'll just go and bring one thing to put as what? To catch the cruise, because all of you want to see her trend. Listen to the answer from this lawyer of Emma.
I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland.
Are you getting the message? PM Simon Ekpa's first advice is for him to ignore the Finland judicial system, because he has lost confidence, he has lost trust, he has seen that the Finland judicial system is not the main problem and where the issue is coming from. Finland judicial system, like I said, I did explain something yesterday on Space. I said the Finland or the judicial system is like the toilet. You go to the toilet to poo-poo. You go to the toilet to ease yourself. You go to the toilet to shishi. You go to the toilet to spit. You go to the toilet to brush your mouth. But the main question is, who is the owner of the toilet of the Finland, which happens to be the judicial system and the court? Who is the owner of that toilet? The owner of that toilet is the European Commission. Not even Finland. Finland is the place where they put the toilet. But who owns the toilet? Who owns the toilet is the European Commission. The European Commission is the one that has case relaying with Nigerian government, relaying with the UK government, relaying with every European countries, because they work for their interests. Politics is about what you gain and what I gain. That is why when you listen to the US government, you will always hear President Trump say, America first. They put policies that will favor America 100%, while what you will get back will be 60%. You can never get 100 over 100. America policies for you will not be that you will get 100%, while they also get 100%. No. They will come with 100% offered to themselves if you strike the deal. Then your own benefit must be about 60% or 70%. You can never have 100 with them. No. If you have 100, that means you are on your own now. That means you are autonomous. That means you didn't even need to come to America. So America will give you a policy that will favor them 100%, and then you will go with 60 or 70%, because you are the one needing America, not America needing you. So you will rush for the offer. So this is politics. PM Simon Ekpa is a political prisoner. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a political prisoner. Every political prisoner of freedom fighting or independence, freedom, government or fighting or people, you don't need to go to court to finish their case. There is nothing that lawyers will do that will solve their case. Lawyers will only collect money and then go back to relax. If you listen to this lawyer now, he said, that the lawyers in Finland did not represent Mazi Simon Ekpa well. And then he still went on to say that he will not pretend to be a Finland lawyer because he is not one. He has confessed to you. And then he said he will still rely on the same Finland lawyers. That means he cannot do anything without the Finland lawyers. He will still rely on them. But he tells you that they did not give him a good representation. So he still have to work with them. He still need them. He need to work with them. He's going to rely on whatever they are giving him. Conditions that they will give him is what he will follow. So the case of our PM is not issue that need to be decided in court. It is issue that needs to be decided using international pressure, using treaties, tariffs, and agreements, and engagement and dialogue on the table, using countries upon countries and top world powers, not in the counter of the court within the clerk and the lawyers. Our PM Simon Ekpa has identified that. That is why he said he does not even advise the lawyer to go and start engaging the lawyers. So he has lost trust in the judicial system.
He suggests.
So listen to the video. Like I said, you don't expect magic to happen. You have to make use of your brain. You have to go into hard work, just like Attorney Dabiri and Mazi Elias and PM Kere are doing in Washington, D.C. It is not rocket science. So, PM Simon Ekpa has identified that his case is not within the four walls of the Finland court. No, it is a political case because Nigerian government had him imprisoned with the compulsion of the European Commission, with the compulsion of Finland, with the compulsion of the Finland court. It is because of Biafra independence that they drag him there. It is because the Biafra independence is stopping their business negotiations. It's stopping them to continue to exploit you. It's stopping Europe to destroy your lives and to continue to eat you up and to take what they want. So you don't expect that you will go to court and then you start argument and then you ask European Commission, Finland court, and the judicial system and say, release me, they will release. You now go and call one lawyer from America. He will now come, because he's from America, he will jump into the case, and then he will come and overturn the judicial system or the jurisdiction in Finland, and then magic will happen. No. Meanwhile, this lawyer here has made you to understand that he is not a Finland lawyer. He will not pretend to be a Finland lawyer. He will only rely on the same lawyers of Finland. He's not going to go and overturn the laws of Finland. He cannot do magic. And moreover, it's the same thing that the same Finland court and PM told us, that no international lawyer will be allowed to come and stand in. And it is the same thing that happens in everywhere. There is no how a lawyer or attorney from America will go to Nigeria to go and enter Nigerian court to start defending Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When Bruce Fenn went to Nigeria to go and join Ejimako and Ejiofor and Nnameka, did Nigerian court allow him? They did not allow him, because you're not part of the Nigerian Bar Association. You can only stand outside and then be advising, and you hear what they are saying, the cases that they are bringing up. You can advise on the argument that they need to bring up based on the law of Nigeria. You need to get into the itinerary of the law of Nigeria, following terrorism charges that they use or following criminal charges that they bring, before you can now know what to advise. It is not even your advice that will determine the release of a political prisoner. A political prisoner is someone that is brought into prison because of the political system. What surrounds his or her crime is the politics of the day. Biafra is a political case. Biafra independence is a political case. It is not a case of a murder. It is not a case of somebody murdered this one. No. It is not a case of you kill somebody or you kidnap somebody. No. It is a case of establishment of independence nation. So you need big powers in the world to do what? Put pressure on the countries that have imprisoned your leader. You need the US government. That is what you see the PM Nkere doing there, and Attorney Dabiri and Mazi Elias, the lobbyist, doing. That is what they are doing in the US Congress. That is what they are doing. And you can see the result coming out on Nigeria, and from Nigeria, how they are crying about the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, being on that list, and also running to America. Tinubu's wife have gone there to lie. Did not work. Many of them have gone there to lie. Did not work. They even paid $9 million to lobby the US lobbyists to come and lie to the US Congress. US Congress twat them to pieces because BRGIE have educated all these US Congress with every fact and figure that they need to know. They have first-hand evidences against Nigeria. So there is no lobbying. There is no lobbying that can turn the sanctions that the American government have taken upon Nigeria. American government are fully aware of Mazi Simon Ekpa's case. And part of it is on this congressional testimony submitted by BRGIE to the American government. And they are working on it and implementing it. Some of you want to hear Finland name. You will not hear Finland name directly, because American government understand that it is not Finland that is doing it directly, that it is the EU Commission that is using Finland and using their court system to do it. Let me ask you, if it was Finland that was doing it directly, why didn't Finland arrest all of you that went to the convention in Finland? Finland should have arrested all of you and locked all of you up to acclaim that you are all terrorists. Yes? Finland should have arrested all of you in the 2023 Helsinki Convention. Finland should have arrested all of you and locked you up in the 2024 Lati Convention. You see it now. Do you understand the point? It is not Finland that is playing the game. It is the European Commission that is playing the game. But Finland is the toilet from where the game is being executed. And you need to understand this very clear. That is why we are calling on all Biafrans to come and support the BRGIE, support the BDF, and support what we are doing in Washington, D.C., in pressuring the U.S. government for more sanctions and tariffs on the EU Commission and Nigeria, most especially on Nigeria. Look at what is written on this. Look at what is written on these recommendations to the U.S. government. Number 4 says, we urge the United States to deny all bilateral assistance and visas to officials of government of Nigeria if it continues to engage in transnational repression against pro-Biafra activists, and if Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continue to be held in detention. Do you see it now? They have continued to hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in prison. They have continued to hold Simon Ekpa in prison. That is why more of these sanctions are coming on them. And it is happening in line with the recommendations of BRGIE. They are holding their leaders accountable. The Global Magnitsky Accountability Act has been invoked. It is based on this 4-point agenda that you see here, that Nigerian government officials, Meeti Allah, and their terrorist groups are being hunted down by the American government. And it is not just stopping one place. It is increasing day by day. You're going to see more names coming up. You're going to see more sanctions coming up. Listen to the lawyer again.
Suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the... He suggested that the first effort, my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland.
That is what PM Simon Ekpa told him, according to him. Do not waste your time to go and engage the judicial system, because the judicial system, I don't have trust in them anymore. They have messed up. I've seen that they have compromised, and they are being controlled by the Finland government and the European Commission. So there is no amount of effort that will be made within the Finland court that will yield fruit, because they are not the one doing it. They are only acting based on the script given to them by the European Commission. So he suggested, instead, go and write letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that they will start a case from there. Let us hear what they will reply. We want him to do something. Since it is him, Emma said they should do something. At least let him do something. Let him go and write letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And let me remind Biafrans, BRGIE had written letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs before now. Letter is there. One of the letters that were written is the letter that some of you saw Ngozi Orabufulani posting online and saying that we are negotiating with Finland government, begging for PM Simon Ekpa to be released. How many of you remember that letter that Ngozi posted online? That was the letter that we wrote to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Finland in favor of Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. But they used it to do caricature. And when Attorney Dabiri wanted more info, they refused him. When Mazi Elias, the lobbyists, wanted more info, they refused him. Who refused him? It is Ma and Chioma and Ruben Nadi and Bryson.
He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, a Finnish lawyer, I've worked some of the fundamental legal questions involved in my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself.
He's got to rely on the Finnish lawyers, the same Finnish lawyers that he said VM has lost confidence in the Finland court or judicial system. And then you still have to rely on them. He's not coming here to do magic. Because some of you have been deceived that he's going to come and do magic. Yes. You know, they've deceived some of you that the lawyer is coming to do magic from America, not even from inside Finland. No, it's from America. And he's not going to Finland. No. Even if he goes to Finland, he can only stand and look and visit and then go back. He cannot enter the Finland court to go and defend PM Simon Ekpa. He can only stand outside and look at what is happening. He cannot influence anything. So he's going to rely on what the Finland lawyers will say and the law practice of Finland and what they will tell him to say and what he should not say. So this is not a case of court. This is a case of a political prisoner. This is a political case because this is about Biafra. This is about Biafra. I salute all of you. So don't hold it against this lawyer. Let me play this video now from beginning to the end without saying anything. So that, but there's one thing here at the end of the video. He said he urged all of you to go and do prayers and fasting. Because it is your prayers and fasting that will do everything. But I'm just wondering, if Attorney Dabiri and Lobbyist Elias and PM Kere told us to go and do prayers and fasting, I don't think we would have gotten the result that we are getting from the US Congress today. Because every time they are going to engage and work with the US lawmakers, they have series of meetings about 3 times or 4 times or 5 times in a day. They will leave their work and family and business. They go, they spend their money and time. They sacrifice everything to make sure they engage the US lawmakers to get results. And the results are coming out as we speak now. Nigeria is suffering from the result and the sacrifices of PM Nkere and Attorney Dabiri and Lobbyist Elias. So this is not, we have been doing prayers. Yes, this is not time for, we should raise our oars in prayers. No, we should raise our oars in action, proactive measures and actions, contributing madly to the BDF, to BRGIE, to see that they do the work that they need to do and they have all the necessary logistics and the tools necessary to do what they have to do. Yes. Even as we speak so, the legal team of BRGIE need more hands on deck. Yes. That is why they are calling on all of you to support with everything you have financially. The BDF too needs more hands on deck financially. That's why they're calling on all of you in the homeland to support and give them all the need so that they can defend Biafra land. And Biafrans in the homeland are standing very strong now, like never before. They are coming out now to say enough is enough. They must carry out sit at home no matter what happens. So you need to give them all the support necessary. In as much as they are using the billionaires to come out now to brainwash them, they are not backing down. They have already identified the billionaires as saboteurs and they are ready to die for their Biafra. So what are you doing in diaspora? Give them all the support. Join the fundraising and the town hall meeting and contribute all you have. It is not prayers and fasting that will do it. It is your proactive input. Stop lamenting and crying and moving from platform to platform, calling on others' name or people that have left the struggle. Go and think of what to do. Go and think of how to bring people in and how much to increase in your donations. Stop going to be crying about the names of people that have decided to leave the struggle. No. Those people have done their own and they have created impact with what they have been putting. Now they are no more there. Don't be crying about them and shouting their names every day. That is sign of defeat. We need sign of strength. You should be emboldening people and calling on other people and encouraging them and bringing them in. Not for you to be coming to the social media to be lamenting or writing in every platform, crying about those that have left the struggle and how much they have stopped donating. No. What are you doing? Those people have been in the Western world for years, working, and they are making money. You too, you are also making money in the Western world. If I were in the Western world, I would be supporting financially with the way I can and with all my heart and the momentum. Not to be bringing $20 or $10 or $30 or $40, $50. No, that is not what can be able to save something. You need to be bringing money out wholeheartedly. Bring money out from 500, 300. Now, if 10 people are bringing 300 and 500 and 1,000 and 2,000, do you know how much that will make? When some of you come, you'll be bringing $20, 10, 30, 50, 40. So if we now have 100 people bringing only 20 and 50, how much would that be? When you have the money, you don't want to bring it. You want to go and be bringing 20, 30, 5 to come and deceive yourself that you are donating money. When you see people that are donating 1,000, 2,000, 1,500, 500, 400, 300, tomorrow when you don't see them again, you start crying. No. Go and increase your pocket and start bringing. The more you bring out wholeheartedly and increasingly, the more God is blessing you. Go and try it. Others that have been bringing out in bulk, God is multiplying their effort and increasing them in their strength in their pocket financially. All right. What you need is what BRGIE is doing in Washington, D.C., pressuring the U.S. government to put more sanctions on Nigeria and the European Commission and Finland in proxy to tighten them up one place, cripple them from their toes because of imprisoning our leaders. This is how political engagement is working to the release of your leaders. It is not rocket science, and it is not by magic. So there's no amount of lawyer that you hire that make a difference in the court in Finland now. Even PM Simon Ekpa is telling you, don't waste your time going to engage the judicial system of Finland now, because he has lost trust and hope. He said, go and try to meet the foreign affairs. Because it is something that has to do with the foreign bodies. Because the problem is coming from the foreign. It's not coming from inside now. They are acting on the orders of the foreign bodies from Nigeria. So if they are acting on the orders from Nigeria, you need to use American government to cripple them. And that is what BRGIE is doing. That is what Attorney Dabiri is doing on this letter here. That is what Elias is doing, the Biafra lobbyists. And that is what the PM Kere are doing in Washington, D.C. Please reach out to myself as well as our voices in Washington, D.C., International Attorney Aman Dabiri, and Washington, D.C. political consultant Elias Girasolis of Moran Global Strategies if you need additional information. These are the men that have done something that is crippling Nigeria today. So, having said that, let me play this video all through before I bring something else on the screen so that we prepare to bring the program down.
Sir, with due respect, I would want to know what are the legal prospects of Biafra through the Biafra government in exile governing council succeeding against the Nigerian state in relation to the allegations brought against our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, and what is the likelihood under applicable domestic and international legal framework of his release within the shortest time possible. Thank you.
So that's a difficult question. So thank you very much. I spoke directly with the Prime Minister about the legal process. And from the Prime Minister's perspective, he didn't have a direct answer, but he suggested that my first effort on his behalf should not be within the judicial system in Finland. He suggested that the first effort should be perhaps a letter from me to the foreign minister of Finland to raise at that level sensitivity about some of the fundamental legal questions involved and my involvement. So I'm not a Finnish lawyer. I've studied European law, and I'm knowledgeable, but I know enough to know that I can't pretend to be a Finnish lawyer. So I have to rely on the expertise of the Prime Minister's Finnish lawyers to grasp for myself an understanding of the legal process. And what I can say about the likelihood of the Prime Minister's release, I just go back to what I mentioned earlier. I will do everything in my human ability to obtain the Prime Minister's release. And at the same time, I will pray to God that we obtain that result. And I ask all of you that are listening to continue praying for that result. And my commitment is, to the full extent of my human abilities, I will put my zealous advocate hat on and do what I can to help achieve that result. But it's not going to be done by me personally. It's going to be a group effort, and it will rely on the grace of God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let us go to another matter because our time is fast spent. Let's go here first. This is where we are going first because in this program, I title it 16 years. For 16 years, for 16 years, for 16 years, I cannot enter my village, especially this time around, no matter what. Even under escort, you don't risk going from Medugri, says Senator Ndume. This is a U.S. senator that is admitting that the terrorists in Nigeria The terrorists in Nigeria are in charge of everything. And this senator is telling you that for the past 16 years, the terrorists do not allow them to move about. And him cannot enter his village for over 16 years because of the presence of the terrorists of Nigeria. So, this is like telling you that the US Congress have done a very good thing by coming to bomb the terrorists, and they need to continue more bombing. They should bomb them the more. They should implement all policies against the terrorists because they are in support of it. And whoever is being held accountable, every person of particular concern in Nigeria, which they see is part and parcel of sponsoring or supporting the terrorists, that such person should be brought to book. Let us listen to this video.
And farm in the mountains, but they had to run away. Boko Haram chased them. Up to now, there are some of them that are captives that normally escape and come down. So, but if that is done,
Sambisa, Goza area,
and
the
like
fringes, Timbuktu,
yes,
those areas.
In fact, we want. I'm speaking for my people, especially in my own local government. If the 200 Americans that Nigerians are talking about now don't have, they are not comfortable, please let them go to my local government and stay and operate from there. Our people will be happy. I told you I can over my house in Goza for them to stay as long as we will have peace. You know what? For the past 16 years, I cannot go to my village, especially this time around. No. No matter what, even under escort, you don't risk going from Maiduguri.
It's under the control
even
of
if I have an
Islam.
emergency now, even if my father and mother are all dead, but even if I have one of my own who dies today, I cannot just go like before. But before I come from Abuja here, decide to spend the night on the road and no fear. You drive from here without escort up to my village as far as you can. But now you cannot even go to Gwagwalada. You cannot even go to Gwagwalada this time around. So if we say that Nigerian army are coming in, or American army are coming in to help us, and as we can see result, that is another thing. Yeah. We should see result. Like now, with what they are intending to provide, the issue of what happened in Kwara could have been, because up to now, nobody has been arrested, no trace of who did it. But if you have them, they are planned 3 locations, not base, so to say, but locations would be in Kanji. They are already there because our Tucanos, the A29 Tucanos, are based in Kanji. Then the other one is that they are operational. They are drones that they are, intending to have them where we have been crying out. That is to have drones and attack armed drones that can take care, so that if there is an incident, within minutes,
they can move there.
They can move there and take
rapid response.
Rapid response. Remember, lack of surveillance, equipment, and intelligence. Just recently, up to now, the brigade commander of Damboa in my senatorial district is still MIA. That is missing in action since we have not seen. And just 2 days ago or so, a professor from the university, Nigerian Army University Bureau, Professor Mami, died in the captivity. And we could not get even his dead body back. So we had to perform his funeral in absentia.
I believe you understand the message now. You understand the message now that Fulani terrorists have taken over his village for the past 16 years. For the past 16 years, he has not been able to visit there. So he is of great enthusiasm that whoever that U.S. government is holding and counting as a persons of particular concerns, that they should do it wholeheartedly. And even the American troops that they said are coming down to Nigeria to offer intelligence to the Nigerian military, they should do more, because Nigeria is under siege. And his own village, Kongo, a senator of Nigeria, his own village is under siege for the past 16 years. He cannot enter his village. If we did not take Nigeria to the US Congress, will you hear this kind of confession coming from Senator Ndume? This is one of the people that sit down in the Nigerian Senate and tell you that Nigeria is good, Nigeria is good. But for the past 16 years, he cannot walk into his own village because the terrorists have blocked him from his village. And he did not have the boldness to challenge the government of Nigeria. But now that the US government have singled out Nigeria as a country of particular concern, he is able to come out now and tell you that even his village for the past 16 years has been under the supervision of the Boko Haram terrorists. And he himself cannot enter his village for the past 16 years because of the jihadist terrorists. All right, now, I want us to go down to look at something, because it's not just okay enough when you hear that American government are coming and they are here, and then they now pick Kwankwaso, and then they say Kwankwaso, and then you are made to understand that Kwankwaso is part of those that they want on the list because he signed Sharia law into order and worked so hard for Sharia law and jihad to be implemented in the Nigerian constitution. And American government has called them and urged them since October of last year that they should remove Sharia from their constitution, because they found out that it is the Sharia that is inside the constitution and the jihad that they are using as a bedrock to slaughter Christians in Nigeria. I'm going to share another screen first before we continue from this other screen, so that you all will see when Senator Ted Cruz can fast for this very act. Now look at the screen now. This is BRGIE website. Christian genocide in Nigeria by Senator Ted Cruz. BRGIE behind this milestone in the United States of America Congress. Did you see when Senator Ted Cruz launched this Accountability Act? This was in October 15 that BRGIE published this news on their website. This is where all of you used to make donations when you will come here on tax or donate button, and then you make your donations. If you click here now, you will see the button of donation. You see the number there, your BLT. If you click on donate, you will see where this one is coming out from. So let's come back to the news portal where we were before. This is the news. Senator Ted Cruz launched this Accountability Act in October 2025. And here he said, this is after a series of meetings with the BRGIE PM. Okay. He said, Senator Cruz Rose, this write-up here was picked from his post on Twitter handle, X. He said, Nigerian Christians are being targeted and executed for their faith by Islamist terrorist groups and are being forced to submit to Sharia law and blasphemy laws across Nigeria. What gave the Nigerian government and these terrorist groups the power to force Biafrans and Christians to convert to Islam or Sharia, or else they will kill them? It is because of the fact that they instituted the Sharia law into the Nigerian constitution in 1999 constitution amendment. So American government have studied and seen and uncovered where the problem, the root cause of this problem is. That the root cause that gave them the license to massacre Biafrans and Christians in Nigeria is because they have given them the power to institute the Sharia law into their constitution. An American government called them in October and said they should disband and remove Sharia law from Nigerian constitution. They refuse. They refuse. And then when you look at here, Senator Ted Cruz went on to say, it is long past time to impose real cost on the Nigerian officials who facilitate these activities. And my Nigeria Religious Freedom Accountability Act uses new and existing tools to do exactly that. I urge my colleagues to advance this critical legislation expeditiously. Then I'm going to bring something else on the screen before we continue reading this. Let me bring something else on the screen to connect, just to connect with what you see here. Now, this is a news that has just been published from Daily Post. El-Rufai was on Channels Television this evening. This news is today, 13th February. El-Rufai was on Channel Television this evening, and then he said, El-Rufai defends Kwankwaso. He questions targeting over Sharia implementation. He questions targeting over Sharia implementation. This is 05. So you now see, as they don't hear say the punishment is coming on them because of Sharia, they are all waking up everywhere and they are all talking about why is US questioning over Sharia implementation. You see their situation now. So we are going to the next thing. So when you look at what is on the screen, you can now see that El-Rufai and all of them are crying about what US government is doing in terms of this Sharia. So let us read something. He said, former Kaduna State Governor Nasri El-Rufai The news now read and say, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has questioned the decision to single out Rabiu Kwankwaso over the implementation of Sharia law in northern Nigeria, noting that 12 states adopted Sharia law. When I say the thing now, they are already speaking with their mouth, telling you that they know where and why U.S. government have questioned them and have held Kwankwaso on the list. Speaking on interview on Arise TV on Friday, El-Rufai said it was unfair to target Kwankwaso when several other northern governors implemented Sharia laws. He said, look, 12 northern states implemented Sharia, okay? The first state to do so was Zamfara. I thought Zamfara should be listed there. If all, or if at all, anyone is to be blamed for this Sharia fiasco, he said, he explained that many northern governors followed Zamfara's example, including Kano State. According to him, Kwankwaso followed suit like many other northern governors. Kano did not do anything different in the way it implemented Sharia. Kano was not very strict. El-Rufai added that it was wrong to describe Kwankwaso as a fundamentalist. He is not one of those you will call a fundamentalist in Sharia matter, he said. He also questioned why other former governors who promoted Sharia were not being mentioned. Nobody is mentioning people like Abdul Aziz Shari and other governors that protected and promoted Sharia. People that cut off hands. Now, the hear them? People that cut off hands. But it is Kwankwaso that is being targeted. So these people know what they do. They say people that cut off hands, but it is Kwankwaso that is being targeted here. It makes me want to ask questions. Where is this coming from? He said. He suggested that political motives could be behind the targeting. It is the $9 billion lobbying money that led to the listing of Kwankwaso because he has refused to move to APC. The evil that this government is capable of is beyond your imagination. They may be behind it because Kwankwaso has refused to join APC. In fact, I can't think of anyone else. Erufai said. He maintained that Nigerians should carefully examine the situation and avoid being influenced by political interests. As Nigerians As Nigerians, we should not get carried away. We must be very discerning. He said. So, all of you can now see and understand that these people know what they have been doing. They even quoted to you that some of them laid and implementing policies that they cut off hands. People that cut off hands, they cut off hands of people in the name of implementing Sharia. So they know what they are doing, and they are already confessing and say, why is US targeting us because of Sharia now? Inokwa. So they know that US is targeting them because of Sharia, and US is not targeting them because of any other thing. When they told them to remove Sharia from the constitution, they refused. They were very comfortable with it. But now they are the ones confessing that US is putting Kwankwaso on the list because of Sharia. So they know what they are doing. How many of you remember when US government urged Nigeria to remove the Sharia in their constitution from October last year? All of them came to the media and said, US government cannot decide for them. US government cannot influence Nigeria's constitution and the Nigerian government. US government cannot be the one to decide what happens in Nigeria. US government does not own Nigerian constitution. US government cannot do this. US government cannot do that. Why is US government putting fire on the nyash of all of you now? Now let us go to the other screen that I went before, so that I will explain something, so that we can be able to bring this program to an end, so that others can watch it when they wake up. We don't want it to be more than 2 hours. Now, I want you all to look at the screen. You see, they say Islam in Nigeria. In Nigeria, Sharia has been instituted. Watch you. Sharia has been instituted as a main body of civil and criminal law in 12 Muslim majority states since 1999. It was in 1999 that they instituted it into the Nigerian constitution. Are you watching it? Are you seeing it? I'm explaining it to you now. They are the ones crying because with this, they use this thing to be doing and carrying out the massacre on Christians and anyone that don't want to imbibe with them. They say when the then Zamfara state governor, this one you see here, Ahmed Sani Yerima, began the push for the institution of Sharia at the state level of government, a declaration of full Sharia law was made in the 12 states in that year, and the state created Islamic legal institutions such as a Sharia commission and Zakat commission and a Hishba, a sort of an Islamic police. According to some critics, Leo Igwe, chair of the board of trustees for the Humanist Association of Nigeria, the adoption of Sharia law violates Article 10 of the Nigerian Constitution, guaranteeing religious freedom. This has unintentionally led to the rise of Boko Haram. Do you see it? This has led to the rise of Boko Haram. This has led to the rise of what? Boko Haram, because they use the Sharia law to implement their stay. Then you now come down. They will ask you, how many states in Nigeria? They say the 12th state out of Nigeria's 36 states have Islam as the dominant religion. So since 2000, since the year 2000, it was in 1999 that they amended the constitution and put this thing inside. It started taking effect in year 2000. Those states have reintroduced Sharia criminal court alongside common law and customary law court. And the Supreme Court has thus far avoided ruling on measures apparent unconstitutionally. So when these people make laws, when they rule in this their Sharia court, the Nigerian court don't come to counter it. Nigerian court don't come to counter it. This is what it says. And the Supreme Court of Nigeria has thus far avoided ruling on the measures apparent unconstitutionality. They leave it there. They allow them to have the power because according to where they put the thing in the constitution, it gives them power of autonomy to do what they want. So this is how you people have slept and woke up and see that genocide now have a play and they can kill many people without anybody saying anything because they embedded it into the Nigerian constitution. When America said they should remove it, they took America for a joke. But now you can see. You see this now. As of 2025, the following 12 states have instituted Sharia. Samfara. Is genocide not happening there? Are they not massacring you? Kano State, is it not happening? Sokoto, is it not happening? Katsina, is it not happening? Bauchi, is it not happening? Borno, is it not happening? Jigawa, is it not happening? Kebbi, is it not happening? Yobe, is it not happening? Kaduna, is it not happening? Niger State is where they kidnap how many of you in school, in church? Gombe State, is it not happening? Now, they now set up Ishba as their own police against the Nigerian constitutional police. Are you getting the point? So, this is what they use to play the card and to crave all of you into what is happening. And then, the other states that are neighboring, like Niger State, Plateau State, Benue State, who have nothing in common, they are only bearing the brunt of what they did not bargain for. So, if you were not aware of this before, please be aware of this. I said I'm going to end this program so that it will not pass 2 hours. And this is a 1 hour 58. I'm going to drop it as soon as possible. So please follow and understand what is happening. Tomorrow, don't miss our fundraising. On Sunday, don't miss our town hall meeting. It is a low state town hall meeting. Come out in mass and support so that we can do more to be able to resist those that are fighting against Biafra. While we're fighting them in Washington, D.C., we also have to fight them and intensify the effort in the homeland. And you can see and hear their cry, left, right, center. The bullet that you're shooting at them in Washington, D.C. is yielding so much result. I salute all of you, and I pray that Chukwu Ikabiama will bless you all and give you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, enrich your pocket, and your fountain will never dry, your system will continue to overflow. He said. See you all tomorrow, and from me, from here, it is good morning, good afternoon, good evening to some of you. Ndewo.